Ken Blanchard is a federal law enforcement firearms instructor with 10 years of experience. He's also president of African American Arms and Instruction, A3I, a training firm based in Maryland. Maryland stands alone, among other states, in the debate over the fundamental right of self-protection.
It's the only state nationwide to ban affordable handguns used by law-abiding, working Americans for self-protection.
Ken has had ample opportunity to observe the practical effects of this law.
What guns are we talking about? Good question, and a big part of the problem. There's nothing that separates inexpensive firearms from other handguns, other than price.
I stand before you as a scientist.
For a better understanding of the technical issues involved, we talked to Eugene Wahlberg, a forensic scientist with 19 years of law enforcement experience in a major urban police department.
This is the problem when it comes to trying to find a Saturday night special, because frankly, there is no such gun. It's junk language. It's just one of those media terms, and when you identify guns, you have to do it by their mechanism. In other words, that's why we think of revolvers, semi-automatics, lever actions, bolt actions. You don't have to talk about who made them, who the manufacturer is, what model, what make. You can define it by their functional action.
And no, the Maryland law hasn't reduced crime. Every cop I know in Maryland will tell you that it's been a total waste of time and effort. Under proposed statutes, here's a firearm that could be banned. Many of the law enforcement officers I trained use this type of firearm as a backup gun. In fact, every proposed ban specifically exempts law enforcement for that very reason.
It's strange that if these guns are so dangerous, they're so defective, they're prone to blow up, and yet we have an exemption for police to use them.
If police officers trust these firearms to protect their lives, what's wrong with them? Proponents of a ban say they're inaccurate and unsafe. The fact is, these firearms are accurate, safe, and reliable.
They don't blow up. They don't blow up in the factories, and they don't blow up in people's hands. I shoot them on the average maybe one a week over the last 19 years. As I've mentioned many times to people, my proof is right here. All my fingers are attached, my thumbs are attached. They don't blow up. And the reason they don't blow up is because they are manufactured like every other firearm in this country.
When it was still a collection of parts, this robot took precise readings with tolerances down to the thousandth of an inch. It works with the precision of a watchmaker.
After all, if any gun was defective and dangerous, you can bet that trial lawyers would have run the manufacturer out of business already.
This is not a safety issue, and it is trying to be made into that. And the reality is there is no safety problem.
When you boil this issue down to basics, gun control zealots are trying to ban firearms based on their price, a concept that degrades our fundamental right of self-defense down to the level of a poll tax. The fact is, ordinary working Americans use these firearms every day to protect themselves and their families. In most cases, it's the only firearm they could afford.
A man that owned a pawn shop helped me pick out something that I could afford that really did save my life.
Gina Cushan was home with her family when Elvin Landrum began kicking down their door in a frenzied, drunken rage.
She took her .25 caliber semi-automatic pistol and killed her next-door neighbor when he broke her door down. Tell me what happened.
He was going, just absolutely crazy.
Gina's only option for protecting her family would have been snatched away by gun ban advocates.
And all of a sudden, he went back to the porch and started hitting the door with his shoulder, and then the door just gave. You just think right then and there, save my family first and then worry about myself later. That particular night, I didn't have a choice.
Department of Justice statistics show that violent crime victimization is highest in households with annual incomes of less than $7,500. According to Dr. Gary Kleck, one of the nation's leading criminologists, proposed bans would have their greatest impact in reducing the availability of defensive handguns to low-income people, disproportionately affecting the law-abiding poor.
Remember, this isn't just about statistics. I've trained law enforcement officers as well as civilians who use these firearms and rely on them to protect their lives, no matter the color of our skin or the size of our paycheck. Self-defense belongs to every law-abiding citizen.
To simply say you're going to determine whether or not a gun is legal by the cost of the weapon is unfair. Yes, I have a lot of people in my district who unfortunately are killed in handgun violence. This will do absolutely nothing to stop that plight.
Don't put a price tag on our fundamental rights, especially for a phony proposal that's just a plain cop-out on crime. The only people this type of gun ban would affect are working-class Americans who are doing what they can to protect themselves and their families from real criminals. It's time to get real and get tough on criminals, not law-abiding citizens and our right of self-protection.